Tom Brady. He'll be calling Rams Seahawks. What a year for Tom. We only give him the good games. He's got an all-time classic. I can't wait for this thing. So I've said this about the Seahawks all year. If you turn the sound down on your TV, they just look faster and athletic and longer, and they're young, and young teams play with a lot of energy, and do you agree with that? And if you're the Rams, how do you game plan against that youth and energy and speed?
It is a lot to handle, and when we were there last week, and the Niners deferred and kicked the ball to Shaheed, and Shaheed goes 95 yards, that place absolutely exploded, and it's just hard to overcome that. If they play well on special teams, their defense, we know they're going to play great. And if they can make some explosive pass plays, they are going to be very tough to beat. Now, the one team that can do it, I think, is the Rams. They've already proven they could do it. Right. They almost did it in Seattle the last time. This game is just incredible for me to be at. And I'm so excited. I talked to my boy Kevin Burkhardt earlier, and he's excited. This is, in our mind, the game of the year for us. This is our Super Bowl, and we're gonna be fired up to be there to call it.
I believe coaching has a greater impact than calling plays. Your Patriot teams did not fumble and did not commit penalties. Yeah. Last week in awful weather, the Rams had no drop passes, either 0 or 1 penalty. No turnovers in horrible weather for an LA team. And so my takeaway is some of that's just in practice. Go back to your career. You guys didn't fumble. Your offense didn't have penalties. What's the secret to that? You guys didn't drop many passes. What's the secret to that?
There's an urgency in practice that the coaches drive home every single day to do the right thing, to make the right decisions with the ball, to work on catching drills, pre-practice, during practice, post-practice, in the off-season. When you would do like fumbling drills, it's a great example for Coach Belichick and kind of his genius. First of all, if you fumbled, you were out of the game. All the backs knew that. So we did so many drills in practice that were about covering up the ball security, tackling drills. Not always you would tackle or bring someone to the ground, but you try to punch the ball out. Every day for the last 20 years of my New England career, we worked on those things in practice. So the reality of what happens in practice is it shows up in the game all the time. Bill would actually he called them grease balls, literally, I don't know, some silicone spray that he would spray on the ball. And when we would do running plays, he would put it in practice. I would take this greased football, give it to the back. He would have to tuck the ball, secure it with both hands, the shoulder pads over the top, just so they didn't fumble. So that urgency and that point of emphasis always showed up in the games. Because in the games, it was always harder in practice than it was in the games. And I think you give the Rams coaching staff so much credit for a performance like that in Chicago last week. You're talking about a team that probably had a 70-degree temperature difference from leaving LA to landing in Chicago. I'm glad, by the way, the game's not in Chicago this weekend with what I just saw the temperatures were going to be coming this weekend. But for them to perform like that, lack of penalties, obviously no turnovers, and the drop passes, I'm very jealous of receivers that don't drop balls too, by the way. That's a great stat for any quarterback. But they're doing all the right things. This is a surgical offense. They have so many weapons. Everybody touches it. You've got to account for everybody. You've got to account for 53 1/3 of the field in the width. You have to account for the entire length of the field. They have an explosive passing game. They have a precise passing game. They have a ball control offense. There's a lot of ways the Rams can win too. So this is going to be a tremendous matchup between the top scoring offense and the top scoring defense in Seattle on the road. 68,000 fans. The stadium's going to be on fire. I can't wait for kickoff.
You won a Super Bowl first year in Tampa. Stafford won it first year in LA. And for both of you, there were choppy moments. I remember it was 7-5, and there was a game in Chicago, and and Matt, I think he led the league in interceptions that year. So Darnold, first year with Seattle. What is the hardest part about that year one journey for a quarterback with a new team?
Well, there's a lot of newness to the year, and there starts the obviously new location, new practice format, new receivers, new offensive line, new line calls, new center, all the things that you kind of take for granted when you have continuity. When I went to Tampa, all those things were totally different. So it's like, how do you chip away at those variables kind of one day at a time? You get familiar with the skill players. That's what I did first. Then you get familiar with the center. I had Ryan Jensen in that offseason. We spent 30 days working on snaps and snap counts. And then when you got to training camp, we worked on, a different variety of plays and so forth. And it's just chipping away. And it took us, 12 games to feel like we were starting to get familiar with the things we were really good at, and also to put aside the things that we weren't good at. So that the time that December came and the end of the playoffs, we started to play our best football. Ultimately, it culminated in a home Super Bowl against the Chiefs, where we played our best game of the season.
Yeah.
And I think for Seattle, they're going to need to play 2 games the best they have all year, because to beat the Rams for Seattle is going to be a tall task. This is a game that's both teams are going to have to play their best. You're talking about teams that are in the same weight class. They've proven that in the 2 meetings this year. If you add up points and yards, they've been separated by 1 point and 1 yard, which is pretty phenomenal. That's as tight as it gets. And to be there for round 3, man, it doesn't get any better than that.
All right, let's go to New England, a franchise you know well, against Denver. When I think back to your career, the only place that sticks in my mind where you struggled was at Denver. Now, you face good teams. That's part of it.
Thanks for reminding me of that. Appreciate that.
I'm sorry, Tom. It's just on the paper here. I just read what they write. But there is something about Denver, the altitude. Josh Allen last week struggled, turnovers. What is it about Denver?
It's a unique playing environment. You're right. There's altitude. There's nowhere else like that in the country. They have an incredible fan base. They're so loud. It's a deafening stadium. And when they get their momentum going, it's a tough place to play. And the 2 times that we lost in 2013 season, 2015 season, Denver had a tremendous defense with Von Miller kind of leading the charge.
Yep.
DeMarcus Ware was on that team. My boy Aqib Talib was playing corner. Chris Harris. They were so good on defense, and they kind of stymies the offensive rhythm. It's a hard place to play. And, there's a reason why they're the number 1 seed. They played great defense all year. Sean Payton, what kind of coaching job has he done in a short period of time? He's just got one of the most incredible skill sets as a coach in terms of his leadership ability, his urgency. He sets the culture for the organization, but he also runs the offense. It's a really difficult thing to do, and he's been a tremendous coach in the league for a long time. It's no surprise to me that they're in a position. And the Patriots, they're going to have to play their best game of the year. This is not going to be an easy task for them to go to Denver and win in this environment.
Jarrett Stidham, he was your backup for a year. Give me a scouting report.
I've always loved Stiddy. He's a very natural passer of the football, very competitive, very smart. He's got sneaky, good athleticism.
Yeah.
He's performed well out there when he's gotten opportunities. And I know the Denver coaching staff, from the things that I read this week, everybody's got a tremendous amount of confidence in Stiddy, what he can do. And, it's tough losing Bo Nix. That's a brutal injury, certainly at that stage of the game, at this stage of the season. But at the same time, Stiddy's got a lot of ability. There's a reason why he's been on this club, and there's a reason why Sean Payton has a lot of confidence in him. And I wouldn't sleep on him at all. He's proven he can make NFL caliber throws, lead teams to victories by playing good football and not turning the ball over. And he's going to need to do that because New England's defense is pretty absurd as well. So there's really 4 good defensive football teams here late in the season playing in these championship games. And it's not going to be easy out there for anybody. This has got to be clean football, no turnovers, no penalties, no kind of unforced errors. Whoever wins the special teams battle and field position will have an advantage. And then it will come down to, in my view, 3rd down and situational football in the red zone. Who's kicking field goals, who's scoring touchdowns. These games are going to be very close, and they're playing for a lot. This is a chance to go to win a world championship. So no bigger weekend in football than this.
I think the most underrated trait for great quarterbacks isn't arm, speed, all that stuff. It's humility. You're the highest paid guy eventually. You're the most talked about. That you're going to lose, and you're the only person beyond the coach that always goes to the podium. I think humility is completely underrated. Cocky does not work in this league. It turns teammates off. And I've never heard a single teammate of yours in New England, even when Randy Moss left early, he loved Tom Brady. And I think that's your humility. I see Drake Maye. I literally feel like I'm watching you when you were young. Yeah. That's had to have jumped out to you too with Drake, has it not?
Yeah, very much so. And Patrick Mahomes is another great example of someone who's always, humility through incredible success. If you're not humble, this game will humble you. And every time you take the practice field, there's an expectation to perform at a high level. And when you're one of the best to be playing, you are the measuring stick for every team. And they're going to come out there and you're usually going to play their best game against you. Now, that's a positive if you understand that. And then, that's the saying, iron sharpens iron. You're getting someone's best. That means you got to be at your best, which over the long term, that's a great way to continue to develop. But Drake Maye has that humility. Everything that comes out of his mouth is always about the team. It's always about praising his defense, praising his offensive line. And that's how you connect with people. That's the reality. That's what great leaders do. Great leaders are in service of other people. It's not what can you do for me, it's what can I do for you? How can I be the best to support your dreams, your goals, your vision, whether that's supporting your coach or supporting your offensive lineman, supporting your receivers. True leadership is about humility because true leadership is about service. And how do I show up every day to be the best I can be for my teammates? That really should be the lesson for all quarterbacks in the NFL. 45
seconds because you got to go. You got a big, I imagine, a Zoom meeting with McVay. You're going to pepper him because you're
everything. You know my whole schedule.
I got to ask you this, though. Everybody in the world saw you watching Fernando Mendoza, who I absolutely love. What did you see from him? What did you see from the quarterback?
Yeah, it was also a great experience. Obviously, I live in Miami, so it was a 30-minute drive to the game, and and the fact that they were playing in the game and all it worked out. My son wanted to go to the game. I brought him. We sat up there in the suite and got to be on the field in the pregame and just observe. And I haven't been to a college football game in so long. Never been to a national championship game, but just to see kind of the environment, the atmosphere. Did it feel too big for anybody? And he's played tremendous, all season, 16-0, leading his team. And again, he's another guy that, when you hear him speak, I always kind of judge quarterbacks and go, how would I have answered that? And he's just a very mature young man, and he's got a bright future. And, everybody coming into the league, there's still so much room for development. Nobody's a finished product. I don't care whether you're won the Heisman or you're the 199th pick in the draft. It's what do you do when you get there? How important is this to you? Are you obsessed with your job? Are you obsessed with being the best you can be? These young men, whether it's Fernando or a lot of other players that were on the field the other night, they have a great opportunity to do something in their life, to enhance their family's life, to go impact a community in a positive way by playing great football and bringing joy to the fan base. And that's a job you take very seriously. So all these young prospects, I hope they go to environments that embrace them completely, that can help them develop into the best player they can be. That's how I was, kind of grew up into the league. I found a great environment. It was all about football. It was about, like you mentioned earlier, about how can you be the best teammate? How can you work hard? How can you play smart? How can you play tough? How can you play well under pressure? How well can you play in tough conditions? And then ultimately, how well can you play in championship games? And all those things remain to be seen.
Yeah. Tom, crush it. You got probably the best football game of the year. Say hi to KB and the staff. You guys have done a remarkable job this year. And Sean McVay's around the corner on Zoom. Go get it done.
I'm on it. Thanks, pal. Right. Appreciate it. Good to see you.